So I make this video with quite a heavy heart, and it's not one that I thought I'd ever make. It seems my time covering Ashes of Creation has come to an end, and from this point onwards, I will be distancing myself from the alpha, its community, and the developers. I'm sure there are many questions as to why I'm doing this, so today I'm going to explain why and set expectations for this channel's future. Now,
Copper found 32 in 3 hours. Time spent looking for copper. Holy.
this all started about a year ago, when Intrepid Studios announced that they would be stopping their 250 pack sales temporarily in order to generate a huge amount of FOMO, or fear of missing out, as they continued to show live streams of the game's so-called development. I knew back then that miscommunication or straight-up lies were being utilized in order to hide the truth. I've seen it before. What's he gonna do next? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna stop selling Alpha 2 keys and then reintroduce Alpha 2 keys again 2 months before the Alpha 2? Is that what he's gonna do next? Holy shit, just like he did with Alpha 1. Do you guys remember that? Lo and behold, just as I knew it would, the pack sales came back not only in the form of a much lower price, but it also came in the form of 3 phases, delivering a...
That's so scummy though, right? Like, why even do that? I don't understand. Like, just for money? Like, is it really worth, like, tarnishing people's goodwill towards you? I don't get it.
very underdeveloped alpha release that had been promised to us these last 4 years under the price of $250. Leading into this, I had very little interaction with Stephen J. Sharif because I have no interest in actually talking to the man. This is why I didn't do interviews or accept any behind-the-scenes information, because I simply do not care. My priority is making entertaining videos for you, and I didn't feel like doing an interview or having information really helped me in that regard. I loved seeing the game be developed from a normal person's point of view, and I take pride in the fact that I
still can't get over how many fucking pizza boxes he has in the background.
I am just a normal guy looking in on this game's development. I think it gives a very relatable and unique perspective that no other content creator really has. My priority is making entertaining videos in a way that I find funny, poking at the state of the game and how much of a potential scam it could be. This has been a very successful...
What is going on with these textures in this game? Like, holy shit.
Format, because it plays on the irony of a project that is charging $250 but has full control over the narrative, despite how ridiculous everything seems, showing amazing showcases that completely blew our minds. More on this later. This is YouTube. I work for myself. I am in no way paid or obligated to praise the game disingenuously. Ashes of Creation offers a referral program, and in my opinion, by using the referral program, it kind of invalidates your opinions of the game and systems due to the real money incentive that is offered through this scheme. Be it a pyramid, Ponzi, or multi-level marketing scheme, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the content creators using it are receiving real-life benefits by utilizing it. They profit off your $250, so of course they are going to bend the truth to incentivize you to buy in, which leads me into the current state of things. Personally, I don't think Phase 1 was in an acceptable state to test the game. It was sold to us as a networking test, yet now that the Phase 2 has launched, no networking strides have been made, and their so-called dynamic gridding still isn't implemented despite being told on multiple occasions it's coming. Initially, we were told it already exists.
Right now, dynamic gridding is in place. Right now, what we are doing is we are optimizing, fixing performance around that, and the current goal, which is on target, is that dynamic gridding will be online by the start of Alpha 2.
Then we found out that it's coming in late Phase 1, then we're told that it's coming at the launch of Phase 2, yet here we are in Phase 2, and all they've done is delete 5 of their servers and claim they've doubled their server workers. Now claim that they have 6K players per server, yet I find it hard to believe that there are even 6,000 players logged in at all. Because the whole 1.2 thousand kilometers squared, or 18 biomes, are supposed to host 8 to 10,000 players. So how can just one biome have 6,000? Unfortunately, the state of the networking makes the combat, arguably Ashes of Creation's main strength, completely unplayable, and thus causes the test.
Who could have seen that coming? Who saw that coming? Man, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
To feel tedious and boring, but it's just an alpha, right? I get that, guys. Trust me, I've been covering this game for 4 years. I'm well aware that it is an alpha.
I mean, it's an alpha. It's been in fucking development for like 7 years. Like, they've been boasting about the new, like, tech they have for, like, interconnection networking so that you don't have weird disconnection, like, rubber banding, anything like that. That should be in already. Am I crazy? Like,
The state of the game is not what I'm concerned about. It is the seemingly deceptive communication that's going on between
also, these textures look so trash, by the way. Someone mentioned, like, these textures look really bad.
Intrepid and their testers. This lack of communication isn't just shared by me, but it's shared by everyone in my community and the majority of the other content creators, all of which
Sorry, let me clarify. The textures look really bad for a game they're claiming is like next generation, one of the best MMORPGs. Like, this shit looks straight painted on with a filter.
quit making consistent content, which leads me into the main point. Phase 2 is simply an unsuitable testing environment. Steven Sharif claims that this is a true alpha, yet they present the game in a way that is to be played like it's a launched product. We have to grind for 50 hours to even test anything, which doesn't make sense, and is why testers are dropping like flies, because we already did this and tested it all in Phase 1. So why did they wipe us and add no additional systems for us to test? To me, the vassal system or level 4 nodes would be one of the main reasons to wipe the servers, yet the vassal system or level 4 nodes weren't even introduced this phase. And now they even claim that they're not going to wipe at all. They are instead just going to introduce new servers. So what's going to happen to those old servers? They claimed prior to Phase 2's launch that at the launch of this phase, the desert was going to receive an expansion.
I am just going to be talking about what's going to land on December 20th. We're going to go through what systems are going to land come December 20th. Let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up for December 20th, right? The desert as well. The desert is probably going to receive a little bit more love than the tropics will, given that its assets are obviously a bit more developed than the tropics location.
This prompted people to finally expect some remnants of the desert showcase that was shown in 2022. Yet what we received was this: an empty wasteland that could be generated in Unreal Engine 5 in seconds, with the Winstead and Mirrorleth nodes being copy-pasted onto them slightly.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How can you fumble this back? What in the world?
Was this an empty showcase
Location.
This prompted
Obviously,
How does that even remotely
a bit more developed than the tropics location.
This prompted people to finally
think they're
accept
actually
some
just
remnants
making
of the
Dune
desert
2.
showcase that was shown in 2022.
I think they're just making
Yet
Dune.
what we received was this: an empty
Guys, are we sure they're not just making Dune? Like, what in the fuck is going on?
wasteland that could be generated in Unreal Engine 5 in seconds, with the Winstead and Mirrorleth nodes being copy-pasted onto them.
I never thought, at first when Ash's creation was going through, I didn't think it was a scam, right? But looking at
Slightly
this
rotated.
shit makes me feel like, look at this. This versus this.
State of the desert has obviously sent pasted onto into a slight confused rotenzi. With
Really?
Reddit, State of the desert has obviously sent a lot of people into a confused frenzy, with Reddit posts popping up expressing this concern. This isn't just isolated to me, guys. This is what everyone in the community feels. However, these posts are now being locked by Steven Sharif himself, and people are being banned by Steven Sharif himself for simply stating their concerns. There was a beautifully written post about this, talking about how the project is not the open development that we were promised, and it's Steven's reply to this thread that made me reconsider covering this game. He states that the Desert Showcase in 2022...
I'd like to share a post I made on our Discord addressing someone's question about why the desert appears as it does now versus when we previewed the biome's development 2 years ago. That video is a preview of the desert biome and the asset created for the zone many times in zone development before level designers have the opportunity to define the playable space out layout and the placement of POIs, node corks, and connections to other zones. Our environment team are having completed creating biomes as assets will do a block out of a zone using these assets. This is done to evaluate internally the aesthetics of the zone and determine if additional. So, like, you're just lying then. Like, so if you did, okay, you're saying that you created the assets and you're basically like how your development goes for is that you go and you make these assets and then you build out a zone, you layer it off first, and then you start like branching out different sections and putting the actual fine print on it. But like, why would you do that and showcase it as if it's a real thing and then give the players this and say, hey, look, we're going to give you the desert biome, and not like, okay, if I'm in marketing and I'm in your thing and I'm like going through this and we're discussing, hey, should we launch a desert biome? I'm like, yeah, does it look like what we showed the players? No? Oh, then we probably shouldn't show them that yet. Probably a bad idea to go ahead and say, hey guys, look, this is the desert biome. You know that thing that we showed you before that was really beautiful? Well, it looks like dog shit right now, and here's the reasons why it looks like dog shit. Like, no. Just don't show them. Like, it is better to just not show them if that's the case. Like, if what you're saying right here is true, then don't show them the desert biome yet. You need to just go and do the work first and then show it to them. All right, this is one of those cases of like, don't overshare, okay? It's really important not to, because like first impressions are everything. And that's even if you're telling the truth. I don't know if you're telling the truth. Maybe you guys are just scamming people. I don't know.
Was not real, and in fact, just a showcase using assets that exist, and actually, it's pretty normal for developers to do this.
Yeah, it is. It is, but they don't go and show you like the showcase of what it could look like, and then deliver, even in an alpha for people to play in, a scrapped baseline partitioned portion of the game. They would create and finalize that section at least to a degree and then give it off to players, not just say here's a blanket and we're just going to kind of give you like a half bit of information on it. Like, that's not how that works.
This is simply not true, because developers that do this receive a lot of negative backlash, selling promises and...
No, I mean, it is something people do. I mean, I've seen a lot of companies do this, but they don't just show you the showcase and then not final, like the difference is that people do the vertical slice and they show you, hey, this is what we're looking to do. And then they do it, and then they show you the final product and give you the final product. They don't give you the baseline and then work up towards the thing they promised you. That's the difference, right? Showing people the thing first is bad. You shouldn't show people the thing. You should wait.
Pre-orders on a showcase that doesn't accurately represent the game. But in this case, it's not even a downscale of what was shown, it's just a straight-up lie. Back in 2022, when the Desert Showcase was being shown, they made it absolutely clear that this was the current state of the desert biome, boasting about their innovative tools to help them develop the world fast, and in no way, shape, or form alluded to this being just a concept.
You know, these are some of the foliage that environment's been creating
look
as
at
part
that.
of what's capable of creating an interesting desert biome, because many times in the games that probably we've played, the least interesting biome type tends to be a desert.
Crazy.
And it's been always fun, as I've experienced in the MMOs I've played, is like, you know, what is how do they spruce up a desert? And one of the interesting things you're going to see in Alpha 2 is how the desert also adheres to seasons and has weather and has giant dust storms and clouds.
Yeah, that's just a straight up fucking lie.
Clouds within which there are interesting creatures that might not normally be present unless for that particular weather. That's going to be very interesting as well. You saw a little bit of the sand tornado capabilities with the dust devil kicking up, both in the weather presentation as well as a little bit in the in the desert reveal, and you also saw some ambient effects that live across the top of those dunes, where you're seeing winds of sand getting blown across in the distance. And you know, here's the key point: graphics don't make a game fun. Systems make games fun, but graphics make those systems far more enjoyable.
This, in fact, extends to all showcases in the last 4 years, and everything shown was not real. The story arcs that showed the world dynamically changing around the Tower of Carfin and Oakenbane Keep, it was not real. The beautiful environment and weather that was shown during the seasonal and commission showcases were not real. The amazing Freehold showcase that showed the farm animals, housing, and crops were not real. It was all just a concept with a $250 price tag on it, with the promise that eventually these things will make it into the game. Maybe. How many of you chose to support the
Wait,
project?
so like what, they just went around like working really hard on concepts and sold concepts? Is that what's going on? Like, that seems to be what's going on.
Based on the expectation that the showcases were what they had at the time you pledged, not what will come in 6 years from now. You cannot act like Chronicles of Aleria and not expect backlash from this. But the main thing that is causing me to step away isn't the state of the game. The main thing is that whenever stuff like this is brought up by me or any community member, the narrative is that it's just an alpha, and therefore it's okay. It's not okay. It wasn't okay for all previous Kickstarters to do this, so why is it okay for Ashes of Creation? For Stephen Sharif to sit there on Reddit and call me an uninformed...
There is nothing nefarious. It is very easy to sit back as an uninformed content creator and cast illusions that play on people's fears or negativity. It is easy to cultivate that audience when that is your focus. The MMO genre is filled with jaded people.
Content creator who casts illusions on people's fears and negativities when I've spent the last 4 years of my life doing the opposite is absolutely disconnected from reality. I simply do not accept the bullshit that is being
I mean, if you promise something for 7 years and then suddenly, like, it gets revealed, and when you're actually in the game, you're expecting to have, like, some semblance of what you've seen or what you've showcased, and you get, like, 1/10 of that, or, like, not even 1/10 of that, just this bare bit scraps, pieces of meat. Like, of course you're gonna think that you're being fucked over, like, or you're being scammed, or at least, like, the way they're presenting the content is not genuine.
spewed, and nor do a very large portion of this community.
If you told me that this was Dune,
Do not accept the bullshit that is being spewed.
if you
and
told
nor
me
do-
that this was the new Dune survival game, I would be like, oh, okay, yeah, I totally can get that. If you told me this is Ashes of Creation, I'd be like, what?
a very large portion of this community, but for him to also prey on mental health as a way to defame and
What?
dismiss these concerns whilst locking and banning people who express the same is nothing short of irony. You claim that open development isn't for us, but what I think you mean is that open development isn't for you, Stephen Sharif, because what you're selling is not open development. It's funding at any cost, and if anyone questions it, you ban them. So, from the bottom of my heart, I have to apologize to everyone who I convinced to help support this project these last 4 years, because I thought I was being shown the genuine state of the game, not 4 years of Unreal Engine fakery. Now, let's not get this twisted. I do not think Ashes of Creation is a scam. There is
Really? You don't? I mean, I think it is. I mean, I'm not even playing the game and it already feels like it's a scam, and we've only been talking for like 10 seconds about it.
a lot of potential here. They've put a fuck ton of work into this game. I had a lot of fun playing Phase 1. However, the fun came from the interactions I had with players, not the actual game itself.
Yeah, but that's not the game that you're having fun with, right? You just said it. Like, you think this game, I don't know.
The test itself was actually quite tedious and boring, but if the game continues its development, everything that I've said during those Phase 1 videos still stands. I just can't bring myself to condone the practices that the game is currently engaging in, and I wish the developers at Intrepid the best. For the audience who continue to watch, I advise to take the things that they say from this point onwards with a pinch of salt. What they say isn't what they have or are doing, it is what they intend eventually. Now, to conclude the video, I just want to say that I'm obviously not going to stop making content, of course. I will continue, just not with Ashes of Creation. A lot of you have grown to genuinely enjoy my commentary and reliance on uploads, but I felt these last couple of years, Ashes of Creation has held me back. I didn't feel like my intros and comedic skits fit the format of Ashes anymore, so I stopped them completely.
The boxers. The boxers, man.
Only to bring them back a couple of months ago to the joy of the viewers. Sadly, this burst of confidence was once again stunted by Stephen Sharif feeling offended by my light-hearted jokes towards his game, so I slumped back into the boring format of trying to cover the news. Well, no longer am I going to be restrained by Ashes of Creation. I will continue to make videos, and if you watched exclusively for Ashes, then my advice to you is thusly: forget about the game for about 2 years and casually check in on Twitch or YouTube to see if there has been any progress. But for now, just put the game into the back of your mind, because there isn't going to be any significant progress for a while, and that's okay. I have a plan going forward in 2025, but one thing is
That's
for
a healthy
sure,
way to
I will
look at
no
it.
longer have my creativity held back trying to cater to a man who doesn't want to hear criticisms. I will extend my format beyond MMORPGs and start covering all sorts of games with the intros, jokes, and old format that you guys grew to love, because I only have one goal on YouTube, and that's to make entertaining videos that make people laugh. Now, obviously, changing the direction of the channel is going to be a long journey, and that means I'll be streaming full-time throughout 2025, and upload cadence on this channel will slow. I will be uploading highly edited videos, similar to my old format, on the games that we play on stream, so come join us over at twitch.tv/Nargaverse as we begin this new chapter. I cannot thank you enough for watching and supporting my videos throughout these last 4 years, and should you choose to stop watching for the time being, I hope to see you again in the future as I show up in your algorithm covering a game that actually exists.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying, honestly. I'm pretty saddened by that, but
Hey,
it is
what
what
up,
it
boy?
is. It is what it is. If you guys don't like the video, go subscribe to Narc. Narc is a great creator. I've been watching him for a long time.